Hi guys, it's Don with Pi's Garden Journal. In this week's journal entry, we'll be taking a look at repairing and rebuilding my raised bed boxes. I've got 4 of them. But first, let me tell you a little bit about them and where I came from on these things and what I've been doing with them over the last few years. And as you can see, here's the first 2 of my raised bed boxes. And they've reached a point of best being falling down. They've got so much dirt in them, in the soil, with the liners inside there, and these old boards are just falling and breaking. You see this side here is pushed out completely, and I've got to fix that. And here are the other 2, and they're just about as worse than the other ones, I think. So today I'm going to be repairing that. I'll take all of this soil out of here and take all these boards off of these 2. You see how they bowed out there, and see, can't we put in some new boards and get it strengthened up and get them where they'll stand up for our upcoming season. And again, I'm expecting to have good crops and a lot of good stuff growing. But today I'm just going to work on one of these and probably pick the worst one, and then let you watch me or help me go through with this thing, and then we'll get the rest of them later. As you can see in this old picture, several years ago I built these boxes as racks to hold buckets for growing potatoes. And I was trying an experiment of growing the potatoes in the buckets to see how they would do. But I wasn't very happy with the outcome. The racks did great and held the buckets just fine. But the potatoes didn't want to cooperate with me. I just could not keep enough water on them, apparently. So a couple of years ago, I discarded the buckets. I got rid of them, and I put a liner in the same rack that I had. And as you can see here, I then filled it to the top with soil and compost and just planted my potatoes directly in those beds. And they loved it a whole lot better. As you can see here, they were growing very well. This was later on in the season when a storm had come through and kind of blew them over a little bit. But they were healthy. We had a good harvest that year. Back in 2023, I planted 1 pound of Yukon Gold seed potatoes in each of the 4 beds that I've got. And I harvested about 5 pounds altogether from each raised bed, which was not excellent, but it was acceptable, and we got a few potatoes to have along the way here and there. Then this year, in February, I did the same thing again. I planted some Yukon Gold potatoes, and they didn't do as good as they did in 2023. And that was due to a lot of the times we had some dry spells and I didn't get the water on them like I should have. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. And I've tried something new this year as well. After the Yukon Gold potatoes were harvested and the beds were cleaned out, I planted some Puerto Rico sweet potato slips. Now those are a variety that doesn't spread all over your garden and 12 to 15 feet per vine, but they'll stay down around 4 or 5 feet as they run a little bit, but they stayed over in the beds, and that's not too bad. They're good for putting in raised beds. And this was my first year doing that, and all 4 beds, out of all 4 beds, we harvested only about 2 pounds, which was not good at all. And once again, that's primarily due to a lack of rain. They were in the midst of their growing season, and from September to October here in Georgia, we had the biggest drought, and Helene came through here at the end of September, and that was it. In the whole month of October, I got 0 rain in my rain gauge here at the house. So I'm going to try again this year. I'm determined to do that. But first, I have to fix the problem with my beds, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second, and you come along with me. Well, to start this big project, the first thing I've got to do is get all this topsoil and compost that's in these boxes, get it out, and so I can get to work on them and get them refurbished. So here we go. Well, that didn't take too long. And now that we've got that soil out of the way, now all we have to do is take this liner loose. I've got it tacked in. Take all that liner loose and get it out of the way, and then we'll get down to the bones of this thing. And now that I've got the liner out of the way, after this step 2, I get down to the bare necessities here and just show you what I got. This is the way I built the box to begin with. I got the design from Hollis Homesteading down in Florida, and it was a good plan, and it worked great for holding my buckets, like I had said earlier. But these size is something I just put on there with some scrap material I had. But anyway, this is 92.5 inches long by about 2 feet, 1.5 2 feet wide, and you'll see two boards deep on the pressure treated decking. So that should take care of what I need to rebuild this thing, and I'll show you the next step as we go, as I put the new wood on here. Well, we're moving right along. Step number 3 is to get the boards out of the way, which I just finished taking off one side before I remember to turn the camera on. But getting the boards out of the way, and I'll be reinstalling some new pressure treated lumber. Okay, step 3 is finished. I thought I'd just go ahead and show you what it looks like. I replaced the floor in it. It was fine. But got the new sides on it and the 2 new ends put on it. All I've got left to do now is I'll throw the liner back down in here in the bottom to prevent the dirt from going through the bottom. There's not enough cracks on the side to have to worry about it. So at this point, it's basically done, except for me throwing the liner in it and then filling it back up with the compost and topsoil. And you don't need to watch me shovel that in. So we'll call it a go for today. It's been done. We got it completed. And now I just need to do it 3 more times. Well, that's our project for this time. I'm glad you came along and helped me out. I appreciate you doing that. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And again, I want to thank you for following along with me. And if you like this sort of thing, certainly leave some comments. Hit the like button if you would. And give me a thumbs up and subscribe and follow along. Next couple of weeks, I'm going to be recapping some of my old gardens, because these drab winters I can't stand, and there's no flowers and all that kind of thing. So I'll be bringing back some of those and kind of sharing them with you if you'd like to see that sort of thing. But again, thanks for following me, and I'll see you in the next one.